Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name's Teri, and my channel is Holding Your Space. And I have the honor of having Dr. Gail, Skywalking with Moon, on today, talking about her new book, How I Learned to Fly a Spaceship, all about aliens. So, really interesting book. I know a lot of you have been chatting about already having the book, and some of you have it on order. I think I read it in 12 hours total. So it was just like,
you took to the bed to read it, didn't you?
I was sick. Yeah. My stomach was upset, and I'm like, perfect timing.
Yeah.
I got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And of course, Diana Boyles, oil painter. So Diana, welcome, welcome, welcome. Diana is the artiste on this project. So very, very important person in our lives anyway, as a scholar. So we love having her here. So, and welcome everybody coming in. Everybody's talking about how much they loved it, how much fun it was. So, yeah, when is the next book out? Anyone wants to know?
I just finished writing it, but it's a big, long process before it comes out after I finish writing it.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait either, Annie. I was sitting here asking her some questions about what's coming and what's so-and-so and so-and-so.
This was a little bit different. This one is about my planetary liaison role, and it's not as much of an action adventure as much as visiting different planets.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So I thought it was really interesting the way you started out with it, and that they just showed up and you were able to telepathically talk to them and to really telepathically talk to everyone. Mm-hmm. And how your gifts grew throughout it. But, sometimes you really say, oh, how did you do this? I just started. I haven't done things for so long. And the gifts that you've accomplished with this, Gail.
The gifts that they've given me and I would say more brought out of me, because the gifts were always there.
Yeah.
They're just opening up to, oh, well, this is what you can do. And this is what you can do. And this is what you can do. So, yeah, that's been pretty amazing, because they've taken somebody who's come from the medical world, science world. I'm not one that was asking to meet them. And all of a sudden, here I am meeting these different extraterrestrials and aliens, and I didn't even know what they were. If it hadn't been for my friend Meg, I would have been on medication. There's some therapy. So that it was, because I kept going every time I'd go to her and I would meet a different ET. I go, okay, this one was blue and she looked like this. What is that? And she'd go, oh, that's an Arcturian. Well, okay, well, this one looked like, oh, that was a reptilian. So, and I didn't know what they were. And so she would explain them to me at that time. And then, of course, as I kept saying, for the first 4 months, I think I must have a brain tumor. So I need an MRI, because I knew I had to be hallucinating. I never really thought I was crazy, but I did think there had to be a brain tumor that was causing these hallucinations.
Well, it was interesting that gifts were brought about from other gifts that you had that were just kind of expanded on.
Right.
Because you were already a medium.
I was already a medium in denial, I would say, or okay. I wouldn't say I was in denial. I just wasn't open about it because it was not accepted. And being in a profession, when I was being a nurse and a chiropractor, those are things that you just don't publicly talk about that much, especially in the South. And then you have your family who just, anytime I would go in and say, oh, there's a ghost in here. Oh, no, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Or, the wolf's living under bed. Oh, no, what's wrong with you? That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was interesting that you had so many things in your back pocket. And the more I got into reading the book, the more I realized, oh, you've had this all along. I mean, which all of us do have it all along. Right. But I think you were aware of different things like remote viewing and mediumship and whatnot. And you were already a healer. And I feel like healers, like artists, right, Diana, are so connected to the stream of consciousness. that I always say above us, which is very linear thinking, but all around us. So, all right. So, Diana, your artwork captures the multidimensional feel of the book. What was it like to illustrate Gail's story and bring these galactic experiences to life?
They all came to life to me. I would try my best to tap into her and then read the words and then go, well, does it look like this or does it? I'm sure I was blowing up her phone with questions, what position do you want him in and all these other things, because I would, of course, get it one way and I wanted to get it the way she saw it. So it was, there were days where I'm sure she wanted to go, quit blowing up my phone.
Well, the frustrating part for me is what I see, putting it into words.
Right, because that is the most difficult thing. And then we one day had a breakthrough. I had a breakthrough. I don't know if you had it, but I sure did. And she's holding an alien baby on her, or a hybrid on her lap.
That was
it took how many? Oh my God, I think it took a whole day and a half, and then I still painted it wrong. But
you kept putting a human baby in there. I kept going, it's a gray baby.
Right. And she was the gray standing behind. That's how that other picture showed up, which happens to be my favorite, actually. I love them all because they all came to life on that paper. But the one where the little alien is poking his head out from behind with a little grin on his face, that I just fell in love with that guy. I'm like, that's the guy Gail sees for sure. He's a happy little ET, But the brush has a mind of its own. The paper has a mind of its own. I'm using watercolor. So, I use a heavy textured paper, and you have to get in the flow of that as well as be in the flow of someone else's visions, not just mine. It can't be just mine. I want the world to see what she saw. So.
Yeah. And it's interesting that one of you is very left brain and one of you is very right brain. and the combination of the two of you bringing everything together. It was, yeah, when the pictures that you drew or painted, definitely I could respond to with how you described them, Gail. It was just, it looked like it was meant to be. And the babies, when you guys get the book, you're going to love it. Everybody's really enjoying the book. They're talking about it.
Yay.
Yeah. So big congrats to Dr. Gail.
But when she said to me, it's a gray baby. But when she said, it's like somebody's standing behind me and I'm sitting down and they're looking over my shoulder, it's like, okay, comes the dawn. I get it now. And then it was much easier after that because I finally understood what was going on.
Yeah. Channeling the energy.
Yeah.
Sounds like, or feels like. So Gail, being able to telepathically communicate with galactic beings and flying missions and rescuing others and serving as a healer, can you share a little about your journey and what inspired how to fly a spaceship?
You mean the book or how?
Yeah, the book, How I Learned This. I'm sorry, How I Learned to Fly a Spaceship.
So are you asking me about the book, or are you asking me what inspired me to learn how to fly the spaceship, or the?
Oh, both. Let's do both. I think we need all of that.
Well, the book came from, how they started, they were telling me to write everything down. Okay. And I was journeying and I didn't know that anything was going to come of it, but they were insistent for me to write things down. And I say that to everybody, write your things down. And whenever I was writing down, I had this medical background, so I did everything in shorthand, this, that, and you could hardly read it because my handwriting's terrible. So then all of a sudden it came to, they wanted me to do a blog, and I'm going, I was terrible at the blog. So I compromised and said I would do a YouTube channel and just talk about it. I could talk about it, explain it much more than I could write it. But then it just kept going on where they wanted me to write a book, and they told me 4 books. I needed to write 4 books. And so that's how it began. In fact, in the very beginning, all I did was I wanted the information to give it to somebody and write it for me. Diana wrote my first copy of it. I kept going, I am not a writer. I am not a writer. I'm not a writer. I kept going over and over and again. So please, somebody, here's the information, write it for me. So Diana did it. Susie wrote it. And then I had another friend in Mount Shasta write it. Then I realized, because none of them were sounding like me whenever people were writing, that I had to do it. It finally came to me having to do it, because nobody has the information that I have, and I was going to have to put it on paper. I just went kicking and screaming. And still, even yesterday, I said, well, I'm not a writer, to my friend Meg. And she goes, yes, you are. So that's how it happened, because they wanted me to put the information out. Now, the reason why they want to put the information out is because it's going to allow people to open up to it and to read it and know that these are experiences I'm having. So I put it in as a memoir instead of a sci-fi, so people know these are things that are happening, and that a lot of people are experiencing the same thing, and it kind of validates what they're going through, and they can come forward and talk about it and be okay talking about it. And of course, that's what my YouTube channel is all about, is helping those people who are experiencing extraterrestrial contact and don't have anybody to talk to, because unless you experience it, you do not know how to talk about it. And you do look at everybody like something's wrong with them when they do start talking about it. So we have our YouTube channel to be able to be comfortable talking about those experiences. And that's what my book is, to get out there more in the public to help people understand that. So that's part of the book. So, did I answer your question? I kind of went on, rambled on there, Teri.
No, it was perfect. I was just remembering, we kind of met. We weren't really in the same algorithm or something on YouTube.
Right.
And we both did the Jeff Mara show.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when I became aware of you. And I think that's when you became aware of me.
Uh-oh.
Remember you talking about it when we started doing shows together soon after that. And you were talking about how you, how could I go on after Teri? She does all these, I was channeling and doing some other things. And I'm like totally in awe of what you do. But the timing, you were early in the galactic sphere.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't early. I had been in the galactic sphere, but I wasn't open or comfortable talking about it yet. So there had to be a big comfort level for me to learn about it and get comfortable with it. And there's a lot, because I don't want to be out there in the open talking about it. I'm not that person who likes that kind of attention. So I had a lot to overcome. And then, for me, the process has only been really short time, 5 years, whereas I'm coming on shows like with you and Diana, who've been doing things like this all your life, and I'm new to it. And so I don't have that background like a lot of people do. So it's been a big education for me at the same time.
Yeah, you say you don't, but now we know.
Because it's in the book.
It's all documented now, Gail. So now we know. It's interesting because I think when we first started talking about this stuff, Gail, you were talking about how you kind of felt like the stepchild of the woo-woo.
I was. And even in Mount Shasta, I was a stepchild of the woo-woo.
Yeah. Which now I feel like, Diana, you should come in on this too, please. I feel like this is the time. Yes. Like, we're a lot of people have already had contact, and they need their feelings validated, and a lot of us are moving towards contact, and we know that it's there. What about you, Diana? Definitely.
I mean, it shows up in my dreams, and I know they're not dreams. I know that they're actual flights. I've got this spaceship myself. It's called the Viceroy. Run G is my chauffeur, and he looks just like Todd Rundgren when he was 17, 18 years old. And, you know, that was the beginning. And then all of these things come true. And the codes that I see and the grids that I have, and then finding out that I have been on Andromeda and Beta Centauri through most of 26 lifetimes. And those Andromeda is the what you call it, beehive. I've always wanted to have beehives. Now I understand why I have this inclination to tend to the bees, because it's part of my starseed connection that goes back forever. I mean, my first experience was between 4 and 5 years old. It was right around my 5th birthday. And there's a praying mantis the size of me sitting on the porch with me. You know, he's got the body of a lubber grasshopper. So he's that blue with the yellow, what you call it?
Lungs or
yeah,
skeleton.
Chevron, like
Okay.
a sergeant stripes, a chevron. So he's got those around his abdomen for each of the ridges and down his back, but he's got this big praying mantis head, you know? So I knew right then and there, I am not of this earth. I'm not of this earth alone. I'm here.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us saw things at quite an early age and brought it forward, but a lot of us are remembering now that we saw that at an early age, and it's all kind of coming into full circle. Like you're right where you're supposed to be, Gail.
So many of us have had it knocked out of us at an early age.
Yep, because I have had a regression therapy where I found out I was going up to a spaceship when I was days old. They were taking me up, and I remember all these things that happened. Like I was taking, it was like a Palladian extraterrestrial that had me in a room, and it was in a room with quite a other infants. And she had me in one arm and a boy in another arm, and there was all these incubators that they put us in, and they would attach us one at a time. And then it was, I guess we got information, and then she'd switch me out and then put the boy in, and then we were slid into this little round room. It was almost like we were pizza. They pushed us in, and it was a little bouncy place, and I think that was a recovery room. And then we were sent back home, and so I started going up as an infant. And so I've been doing all sorts of things all my life. And even just recently, I remembered I go into hospital rooms and do healings, and I seek in, and this is for humans. And just recently, I remember that I started that when I was at least 30 years old. So I've been doing that for many, many, many years, sneaking into people's hospital rooms and doing healings on star or star seeds or our light workers.
So you're doing those in the Earth realm and in the galactic realm.
Right. I'm doing that. It would be it's me, but the reason I know how to do this is because of my nursing background. I can put on a lab coat and sneak into a hospital, and I know how to sneak in hospitals. And the person I'm doing work on is usually asleep or in a coma. And I have a piece of equipment that looks like a big lollipop that has lights on one side, and I touch their forehead and go down their body. And also I've done a lot of work where I'm pulling junk out of people's lungs, people who are having lung issues, and I've seen that. So I've been doing that for many, many, many years. And I've had dreams of doing that, but I didn't realize until recently that I was actually doing that.
Wow. Yeah. That's it's interesting how as our gifts come online, we think they're coming online. They've been there all along. We're becoming aware that we're online. Our brains are. So your gifts throughout this book expanded so fast.
Right.
From learning how to fly and learning how to heal in different ways, and telepathy.
Yeah, when I first started, I would say my awakening was in July of 2020. And it's when I was meditating when the angel showed up and handed me a bracelet. And I think I go more into those kind of things in my second book about how it happened. And when that was like my awakening, and then I started meeting the extraterrestrials, I was from the point of that July to 1st of November. That's when I was going on rescue missions. So that whole time I had learned how to fly a spaceship. I had learned how to do energy healing. I had to learn a lot of things, which is within 4 months, or had opened up to it. So I was already by November going on rescue missions.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was amazing. And then you were doing some of the ground crew work too.
Oh yeah. But,
Yeah. Yeah. And so everybody here that hasn't read the book yet, let me get a copy of it up and share it with everybody.
Oh yeah, you just said
So,
sure.
this is it, How I Learned to Fly a Spaceship, all about aliens. So by Gail McLeod. So, and there's a link to go to Amazon if you want to order one. It's available in the book form and in Kindle form.
Yeah.
So yeah, really fast. Pick me up.
Yeah, All About Aliens is the series, because I have at least 3 more books to write.
Oh, you will.
Yeah.
We're on a journey.
Yeah.
It began in 2022. Now, how's that for a year? Right?
Yeah.
And you know, the pandemic was a funny time, but it was the birth time of so many different things.
It was.
Well, it was the birth time for me because it was the only time in my life I wasn't taking care of somebody. My dad, who had dementia, had just passed away in October of 2019, and I wasn't taking care of anybody. I was probably the only person I knew that I was excited that I was getting to spend time alone, that I wasn't taking care of somebody, and that it was just me. And I made my big to-do list. And my thing on the to-do list was start doing that meditation stuff. Let's try that out. And so that meditation stuff to now was a big transition.
Yeah. I first met her on Nancy Jeans. Here's this woman, and she reminds me of Maureen O'Hara, and then she's got this beautiful Southern accent. So all I could see all around her, which you may not know, the vision that I was getting from you is, you know, that very famous movie that shall not be named anymore. And there you are, the Belle of the South. And I'm thinking, well, I can do this. So I had Nancy get a hold of you, and then she got a hold of me, and I said, I can help you organize your notes.
Yeah.
And that's how we got started. So
Rick's saying his book's going to be out in about 8 weeks. Hey, Rick.
Oh, Rick, man.
He's been working on his a while too.
yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of coming online right now. People that were hidden, or they thought they were hidden. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And coming out of the woodwork, and we need everybody, because your light is needed right now. So you've flown missions as a rescuer and served on ground crews, opening top secret facilities energetically. Could you tell us about one of these missions and how you prepared for them spiritually, Gail?
Name my mission.
Okay. I'm going to think about when on the rescue missions, when you were going into Colorado, there were a bunch of them in Colorado where you were rescuing.
There's so many facilities in that Midwest, all the way down from Canada, all the way down through Mexico. There are so many facilities in that region, that kind of part of the U.S.
And those are government facilities where they hold,
Right.
galactics. So, so going into those places, was that frightening, or was that like, did you?
Frightening? Holy crap! Yes. That's an understatement. My heart, and you know, the biggest thing was the fear of failure and also the fear of getting only one. You know, if I was going in and rescuing like 4 or 5 of them, what would happen if I only got 3 of them and had to leave the other 2 behind, and what their life would be. It was very very, 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 very tense.
It was interesting because you had a very scientific outlook on it, I thought, because you were interested in the outcome.
Right.
You were just like the data, you were like, okay, this is how we do it. And this is the outcome. So like it's scientific, what's it? Not a quotient, a scientific equation. Thank you. Yeah. Equation. So, that's interesting because I don't know. I think I would have been curled in a little ball in the spaceship. Not me.
Well, I mean, I didn't have a choice, that it was just, that's what I was doing. When they first said you're the communicator, and I'm like, huh, what? Well, what am I communicating? I can't communicate. I remember I was taking Spanish at that time on Duolingo. I'm going, I can't even conquer another language, much less be the communicator between all these different extraterrestrials. Of course, I didn't know they meant it was telepathic communication. I'm thinking I'm going to have to speak all these different languages, which I do on some of them, but it was mostly telepathic communication. There was a few hiccups on that, when some people didn't receive the communications, but there was a few hiccups on that, but mostly it was telepathic.
And then you started telepathically working with like locks too.
Yeah. Energy work.
Yeah. So working with
focusing the energy on the locks to open it.
Yeah, and there've been a lot of questions here today about 3D and 4D or 5D, and that 3D being able to go in and manifest a change, like opening a lock.
Right.
How do you feel about that? Like, we talked a little bit backstage about how you perceive these things.
Well, it's hard because I have one foot in one world and the other foot in the other at all times. Like sitting here, I can see what's happening on a spaceship and know what's happening here. Now, whenever I'm going on a rescue mission, I do have to go into a meditative state, and I feel like my body leaves and goes to work. And I've described it quite a few times where when I'm astral traveling, it's like a ghost of me traveling, like it's just a projection of me traveling and going to look. When I'm going to work on a spaceship and when I'm touching and feeling things, that is my soul or my light body. That is my enter. And I might take the form of somebody younger than me or some form of me, but that's my soul, my body traveling, and I can touch and work and do things. So those are two different ways that I know I travel. So whenever I'm doing the rescue mission, it is my soul. It is me traveling. And here on Earth, I'm very aware of what's on Earth, but I have to go into a meditative state to allow that part of me to go work. Now, that's an aspect of me that's going out there and working because I'm still here physically alive in 3D, but I'm aware of that, and I'm working over here in 5D, and I'm more focused on what I'm doing in 5D. So this body in 3D has to be resting. And I think that's what happens to us when we're sleeping. It's just I have become more aware of it to consciously be able to control that and go work. Did that make sense? Did I explain it?
Yeah, it made great sense. I feel like kind of you're talking about almost not time jumping, but dimension jumping.
Yeah.
The quantum field. And going in and still being able to transmute matter when needed, like opening locks, opening doors, and assisting people.
Sneaking into hospital rooms and things like that.
Yeah. And then, okay, they're kind of bringing in remote viewing now. So can we talk about that and what that looks like for you?
Well, that's what I talk about. It's like the ghost of me moving. It's just a little part of me that goes out there, and you can, put your hands through it and you can't go out there and physically touch it. You can't work. You can just go out there and look and observe and get information, but you can't physically touch it or work.
Wow. And Diana, did you feel like you were quantum jumping with the painting the illustrations and helping with the early onset of the book?
Oh yeah, in fact, when we were first getting together and just sharing things, I think is it Borgoff,
Mhm.
the frog. I know this guy. I have met this guy. He is here with me and my favorite cove to hike, you know. So it's like, oh, I've seen most of these characters or facsimiles thereof. So it was easy enough for me to tap into that part of it for sure. And definitely channeling, and definitely um especially in those early days, as I was reading her notes and trying to, assimilate what no, no,
What
don't
is she writing about?
they weren't that bad, honest. It did take a year, but I was trying to make a story out of it so she could put something to it that made sense to her, right?
Mhm.
And so, at any rate, that channeling and that remote viewing is what I would be seeing as I was writing the words, as I was thinking of pictures to paint then. And I painted a few back then.
Mhm.
So those are already ready to go for the book, for the new book.
Do you feel like this kind of assisted you in your remote viewing and your channeling? Because you were, you were already there, you were already doing it, but then you had a new experience in it as to turn it on to a different, like in a spaceship doing the
Yeah,
different things.
yes, because prior to that, my experiences didn't involve a spaceship. I didn't see that. There were no boundaries or barriers or something holding me, or a mission per se, like what happened afterwards. So coming in touch with Gail has put me in a place where, oh my gosh, we are really cohorts on this, right? We're supposed to be doing this together. She teaches me a lot that she doesn't even know about, and I hope I'm sharing some experiences too.
Yeah, I often call you our professor, Diana. So
And I'm curtsy to that because, I
yeah,
am a professor to 4 and 5-year-olds, but their parents were always impressed as well. So that's the important part. It's you've got to use your imagination, yes, but you've also got to understand the history of a thing, where the fractal idea comes from. I mean, it's just important, because you have to put on your Sherlock Holmes Deerslayer cap and go after the information yourself. And when you get all of the written or known information, be it word of mouth or in a book, you can start putting things together, because you have within you, all of us have that ability within us, because we know how humanity is. And if we're all hybrids, then we already have a half of us understand what is half of us, you know?
yeah, love that. Love that. And I just want to say hi to everybody here. I just saw Callie came in, and there's a lot of readers here. Annie, um, and Rossi, and John's here. Hi, John. And I think Tomas is here, and Sally. Just everybody. I can't mention everybody because there's a big group, but yeah, congratulations to everybody. Congratulations, Kelly. So hybrid babies and the galactic connection. Gail, one of the most beautiful elements of your story is your work with hybrid babies. Could you share what the experience was like and what these children represent for humanity?
Well, that was probably my favorite thing, was working with the hybrid babies, because usually it dealt with women who could not have children, and it would be usually one of the grays or a gray hybrid who couldn't have children, and a human person who could not have children, and they would create or create it where both of them could have children. One would have, they're both hybrids. One would look human and one would look like a gray baby, and they would go to their prospective mothers. And that is integrating the ETs into us, or we're creating all these hybrid babies. So it's going to be easier when we do have open contact, that these hybrid babies are going to have an easier time understanding them, automatically being telepathic and being able to tolerate their higher frequency. So that is kind of almost like the slow disclosure part of it also, is bringing these babies here. And it also is creating babies that will survive a lifetime, or that will move on past maybe the human will get extinct in the future, but you've got the hybrid babies who are able to tolerate whatever's going on at the time. So it does help the future of humanity doing these with the hybridization program.
Well, in the future of the grays as well, right?
Right, both. It's helping both, because you already know that here we're seeing the decline of fertility already. And so that's just the beginning of that part of it. So I'm not sure that our future is not what the Grays' futures have been. So this program is helping both.
And can you describe that issue that the Grays have had with fertility just a little bit for people?
Well, they have gone the path that we're going right now, going more AI, going more towards going to be integrating with the AI knowledge, and they're they lost their fertility through this process. They lost fertility. They're seeing that same process going on with us, and they're trying to help us learn and not take their same path that they did, but it's also helping the survival of both species to have these hybrid babies.
Do you see that as transhumanism, where they're getting the implants? I know for years we've had hip implants and things like that people need,
Right.
To be able to walk. But now they're talking about a lot of brain implants and whatnot.
I think there's going to be choices on
Yeah.
that which direction you want to go. I don't think it's going to be, for me, I'm not as fearful of it as a lot of people, like, this is what's going to happen to everybody. I just think we're going to have choices where, even when you're talking about brain implants and things like that, that's probably going to be somebody who might have lost a part of their brain that had a tumor in it. And so that they're going to put that kind of information back in to help that person. But I mean, we do have implants, good and positive and negative implants already now in us.
Yeah.
So many of us already have the positive implants that we're receiving direct information from our star families. Now, there's some of us who have negative implants in also that are receiving information that they want to keep us in the 3D world by inflicting fear and depression, those kind of things. And there's some extraterrestrial who feed off that kind of energy, and they want to keep us out. Some people use the term as slavery, which is kind of what it is. And they want to keep us down in 3D, so we're working for them. We could go on all day about that subject, so we'll just kind of move on from there.
Well,
Yeah.
but I'm so glad you brought that up, because it is about the implants that we already have that we don't know about. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So there's so many of us who do already have that. And when we're getting downloads and things like that, so many people think it's downloads just from the stars or the whatever. No, you have an implant that download is going directly to.
Wow. Yeah. That's another show. You're right. That's a whole show right there, you guys. Maybe in 2 weeks. So you worked closely, or are working closely, with the Galactic Council for Contact. What was your role there, and what insights did you receive about humanity's evolution?
Well, that was quite a few years ago when I was on my first spaceship, and they put me in the meeting. I was the only human in there in that meeting, and there was so many different extraterrestrials, and I didn't know what to do. First off, they had brought me in and showered me, cleaned me up, put me in a uniform, and then shoved me into this meeting that this is first contact. And they had already picked out the guy that was going to be I would say like the ambassador, that was going to be the first one, that was going to be the person who was going to first walk out of the spaceship. And I just like I don't know how they picked that guy. I just didn't have a good feeling about him, even though had all these great credentials and he looked human, except for he had like a birthmark on half of his face. And that was the only thing that made him not look like a human, because it was a different kind of coloration. And I don't know that even at that time, they said that we could progress on, that he might not be the one that does the first contact. So it's almost like they were telling me, don't get so emotionally involved in that, because this could change, because first contact was originally supposed to be in 2024, I believe it was. So it keeps getting pushed back or changed, and there's so many things that can happen to change that, when the first contact is going to be. Also, I think they've given up on the government being the ones that allow the first contact, and they're going to the individuals. So even that has changed.
Yeah, I can understand that, the way the governments are right now, because they are definitely a little different than a lot of the individuals. I don't think they really show who we are as a people anymore, or represent us that way. And I know a lot of people here are really in tune with their divine nature, and already know about all this. So, okay, so you've healed beings, human and galactic, with just your hands. And you were already a healer. You were a nurse. You're a chiropractor, a doctor of chiropractic. So can you talk about that a little bit?
About
describe the gift, how the gift awakened in you, and what those healing sessions were like in this book when you discovered that you could.
What would you like the answer is? I have no idea. I really don't. It just happened. Even when I did my first show on, a healing show on the Solaris Healing Center, I have no idea where all that comes from. I just channel the information and it comes through me, and there it is. That's all I can say, because I really don't know. And I've had a few people want me to train them, and I'm going, I don't even know how this happened. I don't even know where it came from. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know it's all about energy.
Yeah. And that's what the yogi says, you guys. So that's when you know it's real, because it is so true, isn't it? When we start remembering, I do feel like there's a big group of people on the planet now that are remembering who they are.
Right.
And they just know things. They don't know how they know it. It just comes in. Diana, you're like that. Your dreams are off the charts. The artwork that you make with them. And you know things that there are not books about, things that we're developing as we go.
You got to trust your gut. We keep saying that to everybody, and it's the truth. If you think you did it, you did it.
Yeah.
Now backtrack and follow your own trail. There are breadcrumbs left behind to help you put all these pieces together.
Yeah. Well, whenever I was moving out to Mount Shasta, they were showing me in Telos, in the mountain, the Lemurians, that I was showing them a healing technique. Now I looked down at my hands, and my arms and body were blue. So I was obviously in my Arcturian form, but I was going, how could I be teaching them any kind of healing technique? But that's what I was in a room. I was the only one that was blue. All of them were, the blonde hair, fair skin, blue eyed, and I'm blue. And I'm teaching a healing technique. Where that came from, I don't know.
Wow. That's amazing. Do you feel like that's your future self or your past self, or does it matter?
I think all lives are just happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it's just an aspect, because they just showed me, years ago, where I had two halos, one going in one direction, one going the other direction, with these little different balls on it. And those were all my different lives that were happening at the same time. And when they crossed over is where I would see what my past or future, and we just assume it's past and future just about the way we were dressed. So we see ourselves dressed in a uniform on a spaceship, so we're assuming it's a future, we see ourselves dressed in long, plain dresses, we assume it's the past, but it's all happening at the same time.
Agreed.
So when you're feeling like, and we all get like this, right? We'll be walking down the street and we'll be feeling like, oh, why did I wear these stupid shoes? They don't look good. They're not comfortable. Judgmental, right? And we get into that 3D. Where do you go? Do you go to those spheres that are going to the past and the future? Or what's your visualization process with that?
Again, I have no idea. I wish I could answer that. It's a great question, but I have no idea. I don't even know how I ended up here 5 years later when it all began.
Yeah, because you always seem like you're on it, like you are your own person. Both of you too, Diana. You guys are both your own people. Like you have, this is what you do, and that's it. And here I am, and and it's a lot to put out there. Sometimes we were talking about that backstage too.
Yeah.
Putting it all out there, but you do it so beautifully, both of you.
Well, thank you. So many people don't believe.
Yes, it's mainly channeled information because you're comfortable with your guides that are giving you the information. I think that's the biggest thing is you trust who your guides are, the information they're getting you, develop that relationship with them. And I have so many different guides that handle so many different aspects of what I'm doing, and they're always there for me. I can always tap into them.
And don't you feel that actually they're all different, but they are actually merged into one big vibration, that it all comes through, but which part of them is the part that you need to hear, that's got the information to tell you, like when it's Merlin coming in or when Chief coming in.
I'm sorry, Danny was calling me. Hang up on him.
Hi, Danny.
Right. Hi, Danny. I don't have to call you. I'm here with you.
Yeah, I don't even know where we were. I was sitting there trying to not let that ring in. But yeah, I mean, trusting the guy. But my guys are all different, and they're all different levels. What I'm, whatever I'm working on. If I'm on a mediumship level, my guys are kind of a lower level because the mediumship is really easy for me. And then when I'm connecting with the angels and archangels, it's a little bit higher. The elementals would be down with the mediumship also. And then the extraterrestrials are my hardest. I mean, that's the hardest or most intense energy. And I do feel like I have different guides and things that help me with all of those. And then you see yourself. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen myself as different things that show up, and I'm going, "Are you God? Are you me?" And who are you?
Your higher self.
As by chosen career, you were a healer, and that puts you as an empath to begin with. You have to use not just knowledge and information that you've learned in a book, but okay, where is the real source in this particular person? So you have to tap in anyway.
Well, hindsight, it only took me about a year to realize they had directed everything I've done in my life. They directed me to become a nurse. They directed me to work in the operating room. They directed me to work on heart surgery and brain surgery. All these things are things that have come to me where I work on the spaceship. Then they sent me to chiropractic school to learn about the nervous system and how that works. Then they sent me somebody who taught me energy work, taught me about the chakras and how you can use energy. Everything had been orchestrated my whole life, even down to working with my dad with dementia, dealing with his diabetes and all his health issues, dealing with the elderly. My whole life has been orchestrated by the ETs on what skills I needed to bring to work on the spaceships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way too, because most of mine is rescuing souls that are in the process of crossing over or are desperate to cross over to get out of the anguish that they're going through.
Yeah, I've had some fun times doing that too.
Yeah.
I've always said I had the high maintenance ones that wanted to cross over. They were reluctant to go. I had to do all sorts of things, but
right.
Yeah.
And why they always put me in the water, I have no idea. Catching people drowning, and because I don't want to go under the water, man.
Wow. So, Diana, your art adds such a depth to Gail's stories. How did you approach illustrating interdimensional experiences, ships, and beings?
Well, I've been there, right?
Mhm.
We may not have experienced the exact same thing, but it was easy enough to put myself in that position because I've been in that position. Now I'm trying to view it through her eyes for her story. So that's where the discrepancy comes. But otherwise, just like I've seen her frog, Borkoff, I've seen him. What's her name? Jello Head.
Matt guy.
Yeah, I saw her. I've seen her. I've seen there was one other one that for certain I have seen, and I can't remember right now. But they'll be coming in the next book, because what didn't go into this book is in the next book. The rest of
the
early notes.
The next book is it goes into how I reached the place that I am. This book was just about my rescue missions. Next book is going to tell you a little bit of how I got there. It's also interplanetary liaison, where I was going to different planets and being a representative of the Galactic Federation and listening to the complaints of the different planets and the different beings and learning about the different beings.
Yeah.
Wow. Sounds amazing. We've got some time left. Can we just talk about shapeshifters and Moon?
And you. Well, George is coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. My dog Moon,
Mhm.
she was with me in the 3D world, and she stayed with me for 8 years, and we were really, really close. She was one that worked with me. She was a white German Shepherd. She was big, but she worked with me because I had rental property, and I would send her in on empty properties to make sure there was nobody in. She would inspect it before she'd come back, before I would go in. And so I worked with her. We worked together here in the 3D. Now, she got diagnosed with cancer and passed away within like 3 months. But before she passed away, she started meditating with me and astral traveling with me. I would lay on the couch, and she would put her head beside me, and her body would be in the opposite direction, and started astral traveling with me, which I thought was really weird that she did that. But the day that she showed up on the spaceship with me, when I was in my protective bubble, scared the crap out of me, because I thought for sure I was going to end up in spaceship jail. And I just really did. I kept thinking, do they have spaceship jail? I'm going to end up there. I was so frantic at that moment that she showed up. But she ended up being, after she passed, within a few weeks, she came back as in her dog form, and eventually showed me her when she turned into a Yeti, so she could physically help me and be my bodyguard and everything. And then also I saw her, because she's from Venus, I saw her in her human form on Venus. And so she is a shapeshifter, and she could shift in all different forms. So, but those are the 3 forms I saw her in.
Are you able to see shapeshifters then on the planet here now?
Can I tell who they are?
Yeah. Can you?
Oh,
When you meet them?
I haven't put that to a test, but I bet I could if I wanted to. But I'm a shapeshifter also, because I found out when I do like this job I'm doing, or I was doing the interplanetary liaison, they showed me where I went and took my human body off and put a whale body on and went swimming with them. So when I go to these different planets and things, there's a lot of times to be accepted, you have to change into their shape to get the information from them. So
I just want to qualify one thing about that. So astral traveling, where we go into these bodies, would you call that astral traveling, or would you call
that's your soul traveling?
Okay, that's your soul traveling.
And what I look like when I'm my soul traveling is you see a human form but it looks all light, and I have this blue hue around it, and that's how my soul travels. And then I can go take on any form I want to take on.
Yeah. Interesting. I was really looking at that because a lot of times in meditation we'll journey and like fly with the birds, the winged ones or whatever, or go deep sea into the crevasses. And it's really beautiful. Oh, I love that. That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That's just beautiful. That was a gorgeous one.
Thank you.
Looks like you've seen them before, the hairy ones, Diana.
Yeah. A couple of times. Yeah. And where's the one that I like the best? Of course, now I can't find it because, oh, here it is. He's just so cute. A little gray standing behind her. Let me see.
Thank you so much for pulling those up. I love those pictures. They're
Thank
just
you.
beautiful, you guys, the illustrations. So I think a lot of the people here have already gotten the book, but I think a lot of people are still ordering. I've seen a few people say, oh, I just ordered. So I want to show the book again. Oh, that's the spaceship in the backyard.
That's yeah.
Let's see. I know they're all on here, but sometimes it's just hard to find everything. Let's see. Because some of them are rough drafts and, you're looking on your phone. So.
Who's chattering in the background? Is that you, Diana?
Yeah. It's Diana this time.
Yeah, right. Can I, let me show you this one. Oh, come here. Because he's coming in the future.
Yeah.
So see, I've seen this guy. I did that before I even knew there was a book, just talking to her.
Wow. All right. So I want to show a picture. This is the book, How I Learned to Fly a Spaceship. All About Aliens is a series, and this is the first in the book. So it is out now on Kindle and on book form, and it's on Amazon, and it's in the description of the video. So go look at that and buy it. Yeah, buy a book and leave a review on Amazon. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, and Son of What says I'm not supposed to see those pictures yet.
That's okay, Son of What.
Right. Go ahead. There's only one.
Yeah. So
stimulate your dreams.
Yeah. Gail, what do you feel is the biggest message your galactic team wants humanity to hear right now?
I think they're wanting, I'm hearing that they're wanting us to accept them. They're wanting us to ascend to a different vibrational level so we can take our place on the Galactic Federation and have a voice of the universe.
That makes sense. What do you feel like is the easiest way for people to get there?
Probably, meditation is the easiest way to getting there, is raising your vibration and doing some, thankful list and writing down things you're thankful for you to personally ascend. And it should be more individually. If you can raise your vibration, you're going to raise the vibration around the people around you. And also don't, when people aren't at your level, let them be where they're at. They don't understand what you're going through, but don't judge them at where they're at. Let them be comfortable and let you be comfortable and just coincide with each other, and just don't judge them. And hopefully they won't judge you. I'm not going to say they won't, but you try to accept them where they are.
Yeah. Love them where they're at.
Yeah.
I had a therapist that told me that a long time ago. And how do you see your healing work and galactic missions influencing Earth's spiritual awakening?
I think it's opening people's eyes that this is happening and that they're having the same experiences, and it validates their own experience. So they are not having to be shamed of discussing it or talking about it. They can come out and now start talking about on my channel, your channel, Diana's channel, that these things are happening and it's okay to talk about it. Just because there's people in your life that haven't been through it, they just don't understand it. And I think, since the 1940s, we were all being shamed about these abductions, alien abductions and things, and we were all being shamed about it. But now when we're opening up and accepting it, that shame is going away. So that is going to make a big impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shame has no bearing on this earth, does it? It's like, it's got to go. Judgment and shame. Yeah. 100%. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for being here, Gail and Diana. As usual, it was a joy to my favorite ladies on the
Thank you.
tube.
Thanks, Terry.
Right? Glad to be with you all the time.
Well, everybody go buy your book, and we will see y'all later. So thank you all for being here, because that's numero uno, or numero 33 trillion. We'll see you later.